Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started, so if everyone can find a seat. First of all, I want to just say thank you, and it's an exciting time of year with the budget. We get to work on this starting in the summer and comes to today, at least on our part, and I'm happy to just take a moment to say thank you to a few people. First, I want to thank our comptroller, John Toohey, for your efforts working with all of us to be able to help prepare this document today, and for your ongoing work that will be happening over the next couple of months. So if we could just give John Toohey a round of applause. Next, I want to thank all of the senior staff who've worked really hard to be able to put these numbers together, to meet with us on a often basis over the last few months to be able to come up with this recommended budget. It is not an easy process. We all wish we had that crystal ball to be able to tell us what next year is going to bring, but you use your background, your previous budgeting experience, and we really do come up with a really great budget each year. And so I just want to say thank you in advance to everyone here who has worked hard on this year's budget. So thank you. I'm going to give you a round of applause too. And I do also want to thank the members of the Common Council. I see Drew and Sarah here. Welcome, and it's really, this is an exciting time for the city, and it's an exciting time for us to be able to talk about budgeting and to be able to start the Common Council process later this month and into November and December. And so I hope you'll enjoy today's presentation, and I appreciate your time and energy again for everything that you're going to be doing over the next couple of months with this budget. So I'm going to start today with just looking back. Looking back is, I think, a great place to start when it comes to a budget. We, over the last 8 years, have put together a series of really exciting budgets that have added new positions. So I think we did a count this year that since 2016, we've added 31 new positions to city government to be able to help expand the work that we do, to increase capacity, and to really be able to deliver on all of the services that our residents need each and every day. And so we've been able to do that over the last 8 years without raising taxes or exceeding the tax cap. And that's, if you look around our municipalities that are similar to ours across the state and the towns and villages here in Ulster County, they haven't had that same experience. And I think that that is because of the work that our team does to be able to deliver on our promise, but to do so efficiently and effectively and with the least amount of taxpayer dollars possible. And so that's really exciting, because each of these services that we've been able to add or capacity that we've been able to build upon has really made our life here in Kingston better in so many ways. When we look back at 2022, one of the things that we see is this fiscal stress score. I know you've heard me talk about this before, but first thing I'll add is that this is important to be on the lower end out of the scale of 0 to 100. And for the third year in a row, we've been at 1.7, which is really great. And it is a sign that we've been able to have our fiscal house in order, that we've been able to have the correct amount of funding in reserve, that we've been able to budget appropriately, that we've been able to control spending, and really keep a watchful eye on how we manage our budget in cooperation with the Common Council. And so this is something that we should all be proud of, and it really lays a really strong footing for us to be able to grow off of as we head into some uncertain times with our economy and with the world around us. And so with that, we've also worked really hard to, over the last few years, to cut costs whenever we can without jeopardizing all of this good work that we're doing. And many of these have become staples. It's just what we do. But they have saved money each and every year since we've implemented them. And so whether it was the LED streetlights that we started in the first few years of my administration, literally saving hundreds of thousands of dollars each year by just switching some light bulbs. And that is a really critical, important component of just a series of initiatives like changing as many vehicles as we can to electric. We've seen gas prices skyrocket the last couple of years, but yet we've been able to actually reduce our fuel budgets because we've been able to move many of our sedans and non-commercial vehicles into the EV world. And so whether it's here at City Hall or at the building department and even at the police department, we've been able to invest in these vehicles and have saved tax dollars each and every year. But we've also done energy efficiency and solar related initiatives. And so this is something that there is an upfront investment, but it pays back for 30 years. And when you have really short return on investments, we're able to dramatically cut our electricity bills at a time where just tonight there's a hearing on Central Hudson proposing to increase its rates. This is an opportunity for us to be able to be in control of our own energy future and to be able to invest in clean, renewable energy that sets our ability in the budget, which you'll see, to actually be able to reduce costs at each of these buildings where we're installing this infrastructure. And so that, as well as some really unique solid waste management practices, we've been able to launch and now demonstrate cost savings. Instead of hauling our food all the way out to Seneca Falls, New York, we're able to process it right here in the Kingston, Ulster County, area, and actually have to go back into our gardens and save money. And so these are just some of the cost-cutting initiatives that we've been able to put in this budget that has been able to allow us to grow and not ask for much more from our taxpayers. We've done all of this, and we've still invested in critical infrastructure. And so as you look at some of these slides, you'll see that we have been able to accomplish a lot, whether it's through our Broadway infrastructure project that we completed a few years ago. You now see people using it each and every day. These are critical investments, and we've been able to invest a lot of resources from the ground up. So whether it's sewer, water, or our road work, our streetscapes, that really makes a difference in how people get around and how accessible our community is. And so just using paving as an example, in the last few years, we've been able to pave over a third of all of our city streets. We've got 300 streets. We've been able to pave over 130 of them, 90 miles of roadway. We've been able to do more than a third, almost, a little bit more than a third, a little less than a half of all of our streets have been repaved in the last few years. And that shows that there's a strong will of our taxpayers to be able to invest in these programs, but there's also a really strong work ethic of our staff who are out there each and every day, including today, whether it's Cornell Street or all of these other infrastructure projects that are literally happening in our city as we speak. You only have to look to just our Midtown parking lot project that we just finished up to be able to say that parking is not an easy topic to talk about. No one likes to pay for parking, I get it, but when they see that money going back into the infrastructure that they're using, it makes it a little bit easier to swallow. And when you look at our Midtown parking lot projects, we've really been able to create places that are safe and easy to park, but also that look beautiful and have that environmental benefit of being able to actually, take all of that stormwater and keep it on site instead of letting it go down into our stormwater and sewer systems that we then have to potentially treat all over again. And so that is just a piece of, when we think of our stormwater and sewer infrastructure, much of it you don't see. You may see the manhole on the street when you're riding over it, but other than that, you don't see the literally hundreds of miles of piping that we have under our city infrastructure that really has been overlooked for a really long time. And through the work of our team, we've been able to make really great strides, and we have a lot more planned in the future. And this budget really helps support that future programming and that future capacity to be able to help us move through the next few years. But today, we're here to talk about the budget. And one of the things that is great about a city budget is that we feel that there is just something about a city budget that you want to dive deep into. And so I said, why not dive deep today, right? So today we're going to have a little bit of a education lesson about our budget. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the numbers, and I really just want to hopefully showcase some of the really unique things that we've been able to do. So first, we've been able to add a few new positions year over year in our budget. We've added these positions in a few critical areas. One has been the building department. We know that building enforcement and building department work, whether it's with short-term rentals, commercial fire inspections, or the literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of building permits that we've been having requested each and every year, in the last few years anyway, has definitely put a strong capacity issue. And as a part of our new zoning code and as a part of our Common Council partnership, we've added new positions to that budget. And so this year, but that will be reflected in our budget next year as we're proposing it. And so that's something that I wanted to just highlight. We've also added some additional capacity here in the planning department, as well as with our new zoning code. Again, those were approved this past year with the Common Council. But one other position I just wanted to mention is also developing capacity in our wastewater treatment plant system. As folks know, we've invested a lot in wastewater treatment plant work, and we really want to be able to make sure that that system is operating as effectively and efficiently, and that we're having the support in kind of those critical infrastructure pieces. Because when you flush your toilet, you want to make sure that it goes somewhere. And so we just have to make sure that that's all taken care of. One of the things that I'll just mention too about our budget is that this is the 9th year now in a row that we will be below the tax cap, which again is something that not many municipalities can say, and it's something, again, I really want to just say thank you to our team who work each and every day to stay within budget, and if not, stay below budget every year. And that has really helped our fund balance. It helps when other costs go up in other departments. Literally, you all are sharing back and forth based on the savings and the efficiencies that you're finding and the good deals that you're getting when you're making your purchases. This year's total budget is just over $52 million. Last year, it was just over $50 million. And so we've been able to keep the overall budget increase to just about $2 million year over year, which again is something that is really, it's a good thing. I think overall spending is just up around 4%. And with everything that we've been seeing in terms of price increases, it's something that we definitely can be proud of. And I've got a slide here that kind of breaks that down. So we have what we kind of call discretionary spending for all of the senior staff in the room. We call those our .4 accounts, but those are all of the accounts that you basically need to buy things, whether it's contractual expenses, material, supplies, furniture, all of that stuff gets lumped into these categories. And year over year, we've actually been able to decrease those accounts by just over $16,000. And when we think of inflation at 7% or more over the last couple of years, that just shows how big of an effort you all took to be able to make sure that we hold the line on spending, because there are things that are outside of your control that have gone up, and we'll get to those, because those have been health benefits, which are outside of your control. They have been our insurance, whether it's liability or property insurance, again, outside of our control. And then, of course, we're going to get to salaries and our recruitment and retention plans that we've implemented, but those salaries are things that have been contractually negotiated and are outside of the control of the individual departments. And so we really have done a great job of managing our additional spending and all of these key things. And these are the things that you all work with each and every day. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And it really has helped keep our budget in check this year. We are going to have a couple of slides about the tax levy. And so first, in 2023, we were actually able to reduce the tax levy, which was the first time in quite some time. one of the things that we are going to see this year is that the tax levy is going to go the other way because of some of the issues that we've just discussed. We're going to see a tax levy increase of just over $300,000, which out of a $52 million budget isn't bad. But again, we never want to see too large of an increase, and so this increase is really minor, but it is still an increase. And so for folks who look at the tax rates, per thousand, the homestead rate's going to go up about 17 cents, and the non-homestead rate's going to go up about 18 cents. When you look at what our tax rates have done over the last 8 years, you're going to see that our tax rates have continued to decline, and that's a good thing. And I think our next slide will actually show that our tax rates, while they are going up slightly, they're only going back to our 2021 level. So there's a very small line on the screen there, and that's where our current tax rate aligns with the previous years. And so thankfully, our tax rates are still well below when I first inherited this office, but yet they did creep up a few cents due to some of the issues we talked about. When we look at where we spend our money in government, it's where you expect. Public safety, 48% of our overall appropriations are spent on public safety. That includes police and fire and our expenses around those areas. Some of the other key things I wanted to just point out is that overall out of our entire appropriations, 7% are spent just on employee benefits. So it's a big number, and the next chart actually breaks that down even further when it comes to the personnel expenses. Personnel services, so that's all of our staff, are about 42% of that budget. Almost equal now is actually employee benefits. So it takes 42% of our budget is what it takes to have all 300 staff working, and 34% of that pie is actually employee benefits. And so that's grown so much over the last couple of years, and I think that this is a known issue in our state and our country. Healthcare costs have just gone crazy, and I think that we've all talked about ways that we think that our federal government and the state can move to everything from single-payer healthcare to more government-sponsored healthcare. At some point, we need to do something because we are now well over $35,000 for a family plan in the city of Kingston, and it's a lot. And so we have to keep that kind of in our mind as we're talking about all of these budgeting issues, is that it really, at some point, there's going to need to be a change in how we do business for our communities and for our municipalities and for even our private businesses. It's just a huge factor. This is just a summary of our tax rates going from 2016 to 2024. You'll see that we've still dropped our rates dramatically since that time, and that's a good thing. And we want to continue to keep our tax rates as low as we can, at the same time continuing to grow our city so that our residents then are not having to pick up the burden of any increased expenses that we may have. So with this budget, it does a lot of really great things. It keeps our city moving, and one of the first things that we are going to be doing with this budget is investing in our future. We have to. And many of these come in terms of infrastructure projects. And so as we speak, we are wrapping up the Henry Street project. We've gotten a lot done this summer. We're really proud. If you haven't had a chance to see Henry Street, I wouldn't go check it out today because we are literally starting up the paving machines this week to be able to pave a big section of it, but it really does look great. And we're really, I want to thank the engineering department for helping to guide this grant-funded project and to really be able to help us make vital infrastructure. And this is a street where we took it from the ground up. We've replaced sewer and stormwater, curbing, sidewalks, street trees, to really be able to build a walkable, safe, accessible neighborhood in one of the streets that has long been forgotten about in the city. And so it's a great project, and it's something that we're really excited to get a majority done, hopefully before the snow flies. One of the projects that is a little bit harder to see because you can't literally drive by it and have a look like you can on Henry is Deed Stadium. We've actually been able to make really great progress in the last month and a half or so that we've been under construction, and This is just a picture of what was really the kind of the former area where the basketball court was, if you're familiar with Dietz Stadium. We are pushing that entire hill way back to be able to create a new practice field. And so you see all of that earth movement work. These pictures were just taken last week. And so we've made some great gains. And through 2024, it's going to be a focus, and again, it's factored into our budget to be able to help support both the staff to be able to manage this project and also preparing for upcoming bond payments that will be necessary as part of our partnership with the school district as we move forward into completion at the end of next summer. We also have been and will be continuing to do ADA compliance projects. One of the ones that you've been seeing happening all over Kingston this year is our ADA compliant curb ramp and sidewalk project. Right now, they're preparing to start work on North Front Street. So you'll see it, they've all been marked, and we're really excited. And as a part of the North Front Street projects, we're also going to be replacing the city sidewalk directly in front of our municipal parking lot, adjacent to the drugstore. So that has been a need for a long time. And so we're excited to be able to get that work started and happening. And we're going to continue to see ADA work happening. And we're taking a lot of the state funds that are being provided to the city to help and putting that back out as quickly as we can into the community, and doing so without taxpayer expense. We also want to be able to make sure that we have equipment to be able to do the job. And so if you look here, you'll see we've got a variety of equipment planned in our capital plan. So that includes everything for new hybrid SUV police department vehicles to 3 additional refuse and recycling packers for the Department of Public Works, to electric vehicles for the building department. With their new staff, they need new vehicles, and work and assistance with our recreation and other departments. And so we want to be able to make sure that we're replacing and creating opportunities to move out of service some of these vehicles that are literally, I don't know if they're all older than me, but there are definitely vehicles in our fleet that were registered in the 1980s. And so it's time for some of these vehicles to be moved out to pasture and to be able to invest in some of this new technology. It's safer for our employees, it's more efficient, better gas mileage, and again, our employees need to be able to have good tools to be able to do a good job. We've also made investments in staffing, and I think that, as I mentioned, since 2016, we've added new staff, but a big part of the staff additions is that we also have to have retention. We have to be able to make sure that our employees that we train, that are here for a few years, stay here, because we've put a lot into them. And so one of the things that we've recently been able to do in partnership with CSEA, we were able to sign a really good, fair, balanced new contract that has provided increased wages, which is going to help with retention. It's going to help with the support that they need to be able to live in Kingston so that they're paid a living wage. And this will help over 130 of our members who have traditionally been the lowest paid workers in our city be able to have now a living wage, and will help us fill some of the vacancies that we have in some of those critical departments like the Department of Public Works. We also have recognized that retention is important, and one of the critical pieces of retention is the police department. As folks are aware, we've had, at this point, a number of vacancies in the police department. We usually do a great job recruiting and attracting, because we have a great police department that has great training and great opportunities for growth. But once they hit that special kind of 5-year mark, there are many much more competitive offers that are available, whether it be the state police or jurisdictions south of here that pay much more than we can afford to pay in our small city here in the city of Kingston. But I'm happy to announce that we're going to be doing a new retention and recruitment plan for the Kingston Police Department. I'll be sending a communication for the November finance meeting with details that we've worked out with the Police Benevolent Association. And it's going to really help with our retention of our police officers going forward, and help with recruiting new officers so that they don't leave after a few years. And so we're excited to be able to announce that and get that to our Common Council members for their evaluation this fall. We also want to make sure that we have equipment for our staff, and so whether it's bicycles or lawnmowers, or whether it's playground equipment, or the paint to be able to make improvements to our buildings, we really need to be able to make sure that our staff have equipment. And so throughout this budget, you'll see that we've invested in those types of pieces of equipment, and we're also going to be using, what we'll talk about in a little bit, some of our federal rescue plan dollars to be able to help make sure that our staff have even the smaller tools that they need to get the job done here in the city. We've also invested in new services, and so whether our launch of the new mobile mental health ambulance program here in the city of Kingston, or the online permitting that we've done at the building department, or even the hiring of staff like our historic preservation administrator to be able to make sure that we're helping those who have all of these historic homes in Kingston know what to do and how to do it right, and when they go to renovate their properties. And so these are just some of the services that we've invested in and will continue to invest in, because we feel like as the city grows, so do its needs, and this budget allows us the flexibility, but also the resources to be able to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our residents as they change. One of the best ways to be able to meet those needs, of course, is to not spend taxpayer dollars, and it's to get taxpayer dollars that were not generated locally back into our community through grants. And as folks have heard me talk before, we've been really successful in grants. Just right now, we're managing an $84 million portfolio in grant funds that are active projects. I think since I took office in 2016, we're now up to over $110 million in grants that have been brought to the city of Kingston for really critical projects. And they range from everything from the more recently announced RAISE grant, which is just under $22 million to be able to help with some of our waterfront projects that we've long planned for but have not yet had the resources to actually implement. We're excited to be able to start planning in 2024 to be able to get this work started. And while it is a federal grant and it will be very complicated, we're really excited about it. And we are literally one of the smallest cities to receive this kind of grant funding, let alone at the level of $22 million. We've also just finished, I wouldn't say finished, almost finished, literally within a few weeks, almost $10 million invested in our wastewater treatment plant. And some of this work was mandated by the Department of Environmental Conservation. They really want to make sure that we are the most environmentally conscious and efficient plant. And so we were one of the first to actually have to comply with new state regulations. We're proud of that, but at the same time, it cost us a lot of money, which everyone else is now going to have to do in the state. But we've now been able to get those improvements done. But as a part of it, we wanted to also make sure that our plant was up to date and efficient. And so we were able to invest in brand new blowers, which are really the heart of the whole system. And so you'll actually see in the budget that because of the blowers that we're literally turning on next week, we're going to be able to save actual electrical dollars in our budget, which is actually going to go to pay back the loans and grants that we received for this. And so that's a win-win when we can make these critical investments that make our systems work better, meet state mandates, but at the same time be able to save money. That's always a good thing. We've also used and will continue to use, and you'll see it here in this budget, we've invested a lot of our American Rescue Plan dollars into projects and staffing to be able to get these projects done. And so whether it's the new Broadway Prince landscaping project, I wish I had a smaller name. We actually are going to be having a public poll to help the public actually choose the name. We've worked with the Parks and Recreation Commission. We've whittled it to 10 names, and you're going to get to see that very soon. And so then the slide will have something much shorter, I believe, once we get a name picked. But we're also going to be working on streetscape improvements and traffic improvements for both pedestrians and cars and cyclists. And so when we venture uptown Kingston next year, you're going to see that the Clinton Avenue, John Street, Main Street, Westbrook Lane intersections are going to be all completely different and much, much better. And so we're really excited to be able to fix that intersection and make it safer for everyone. And that's going out to bid this fall, and we're really excited to be able to start construction. And we're going to be using ARPA money to be able to help reduce in the end, this project will be completely paid for by the DRI and ARPA, and so not one penny of taxpayer dollars is going to be going into this entire renovation project. And so that is a free gift to the residents of the city of Kingston, which is very exciting. But that's not all. So infrastructure is a big piece of what we do, but sometimes we also have to talk about social infrastructure. And so one of the things that we're really excited to be able to invest ARPA money in, and you'll see that here, is in housing. We are launching and have launched a variety of housing projects that are going to be starting in 2024. We've done a lot of contracting work this year, but we are now ready to go. And so whether it's our new Landlord Ambassador program that we are doing with our partners at REPCO, or property renovation work that we're doing with REPCO and the Kingston City Land Bank to be able to create new single-family homes here in Kingston for folks who are low to moderate incomes. It's working with the short-term rental portal and making sure that folks are complying with our new zoning regulations, and if not, that we're fining them appropriately for not complying. And also making sure that folks have access to emergency housing funds. And so using ARPA money to be able to help support these critical programs is exactly what it was designed for. And we're really excited to move that forward in 2024. Another program that we're announcing, and the press release is going out tomorrow, but we've got about $50,000 left in our small business pool of money that we've set aside for in ARPA. And so tomorrow we're going to be announcing that we're putting out a new grant program to be able to help promote Kingston's businesses and neighborhoods so that we can create more retail, more hospitality, more tourism, more spending of dollars locally at our local businesses. And so we're going to be putting out a grant application and encouraging, all of our, business associations and those who want to promote Kingston to apply. We've set aside we have $50,000 left that we're putting aside to have good business promotion to be able to help attract, and that's something we've never been able to fund before, but it's something that I think is really critical to be able to help make sure that through next spring and summer, we're doing the best we can to help get people through the doors of all of our local businesses. But we're also working on Parks and Recreation projects, and I want to thank the team at Parks and Recreation. So not only are we working on Deed Stadium, but we have a million other projects that we're working on, and one of the ones that we're really excited about that we're using ARPA money in particular for are updating our pickleball courts at Lauren Park. As folks know, pickleball is really growing and popular, and we have had courts there for a couple of years, but they are definitely worn out. They need an upgrade, and we're really excited to be able to provide that upgrade to folks in 2024 using some of our ARPA funds. And so when we think about the budget as a whole, we're in really great fiscal position. We have a strong backbone of fiscal health. We have a great comptroller, a great common council that are helping us build a strong foundation for the city when it comes to our fiscal health. And so that's a great thing. We do know that this budget also funds all of our essential services. There are no cuts to any services in this budget. We are going to continue to do the great work that we're doing each and every day. And we're going to invest in our infrastructure. We've been doing that each and every year since I've been lucky enough to be your mayor, and we're going to continue to do that with this budget next year. As I mentioned at the very beginning, this is the 9th year that we're under the tax cap, and so that's a really good thing for a small city to be able to say that it can do. And in the end, this budget just helps keeping us moving forward. And I think that that's an important part of our work, is to be able to continue to meet the needs of our residents, to continue to serve our taxpayers as we've promised to do, and to work hard and to do so efficiently, and to be able to protect the resources that we have But in the end, it's our job to get it done. And I want to thank all of you for coming. We will have the budget posted momentarily on our website. All of the budgets are in the Common Council mailboxes as we speak. And we really look forward to going through the next couple of months with the Common Council and answering any questions that may have. And again, I want to just thank you all for coming today and for your time and patience. Oh, one more thing. None of this would be possible, at least for all of you that are watching from home, without the amazing work of our friends at Radio Kingston. They've been here at every event that we've needed to be able to help telecast this out to the rest of the world, and it's really helpful for all of the folks who couldn't be here at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. So I really appreciate your team's efforts, and again, thanks for helping to spread the message and about our budget. Thank you all.
Nice to meet you.